Life is full of tragedies: storms, tidal waves, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. Name them, and there will be an enormous count waiting to be included. That is why we need to understand God's roles in these tragic events. So join us as we uncover the Tragic Blessings series. For 5 straight days and nights, we will be experiencing the love of God through the darkest human experiences of natural calamity. Often, it is very hard to understand why God has to show His love on the wrong side of natural occurrences. But who are we to question God's noble character? So let us together experience God through the tragic experiences of humanity.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up, wake up, it's time to rise and sing the praise of Jesus. Hallelujah, hallelujah. It's time to rise, to sing, to shout, to bring Him all your heart. He'll do the bigger part, if you will only make a start. It's time to give Him all your heart, and only you can make a start. Wake up!
A great moment, everyone. We are now on the second part of the 5-part series entitled The Tragic Blessings. In this episode, we will be tackling the topic, the blessing of strong winds. Yes, we will be experiencing God's great love through the dreaded experience of uncontrollable winds that triggered property destructions and even loss of lives. This is your 7 Minutes with God inspirational devotional for today, and you will still be with Brother Noy Gonzaga, your online inspirational evangelist. Let us start our devotional with a verse found in Isaiah 40:31. But they who waited for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. This verse is a testament that whatever we meet in life, even how chaotic and dreaded our experiences may be, if we are journeying and experiencing this with the Lord, everything, though how painful, will give us reasons to be happy and to praise the great God. Just this morning, I have already visited my wrecked, rented home in the campus of the school where I was serving as an educator. En route to that destination, I can figure out that the strength of the winds ascended when it assaulted, because the more distance I traveled, the more trees are uprooted and electrical posts bended in a semblance of a very strong, wild, and rigorous volume of wind capacity. Moments later, I already entered the gate of my beloved workplace, and several trees are down, side-lying, but visibly uprooted. This explains the magnitude and force carried by the winds that journeyed past this educational community. I can count not less than 8 big trees and aged trees at that, completely down while on my way to our extended and rented duplex pad. I have a lot of imagination, negative conceptualization, and even perceptions of damages to the things I owned and are present in that place I called our little nest. However, riding my motorcycle, a thought flashed back from memory. And that thought filled my mind when I was traveling from Bacolod to that place. Now permit me to share that experiential flashback with you. I was still a college student in one Adventist university located in southern Luzon. Well, usually I traveled home to Visayas via the seaport. I seldom request my parents for a plane ticket, not because it is beyond our budget, but because I seemed not to experience enough travel with a more expensive ticket when riding a plane than with boarding a ship. So in one occasion wherein I am scheduled to go home, to Bacolod, I purchased and successfully boarded an inter-island passenger ship. My accommodation is at the special economy area called Tatami. It is like a budget class, but it is a little bit upgraded due to the presence of an air conditioning system. Next to my bed is an adult teacher. I am then 17 years old and on my second year in college. At the middle of the sea travel, the captain announced that there is a weather bulletin locating a low pressure area in the route of the vessel that we are boarding. In short, there will be strong winds that will be meeting us in the journey. Due to my vast experiences of going back and forth to Luzon through ship travels, I know the danger of meeting strong winds brought about by storms or weather disturbances. Because of this, I knelt on top of my bed asking God for guidance and protection and to allow me to sleep soundly while the ship encountered massive winds. Well, I really don't have a good body for rough sea travels because I will become nauseatic and I may vomit. After praying, I take out my blanket and lie down on my assigned bed. Lo and behold, I succumbed to a very deep sleep. After 8 hours of continuous uninterrupted sleep, I was able to get up and I observed the sea, and then it is already very calm and peaceful. What happened? I wondered if there was really strong winds that confronted us. Why? Because I never felt anything unusual because I have a very deep, sound sleep. The person next to me, the adult teacher, then asked me, "Did you feel the great winds?" I replied in the negative and told him I was asleep when it pummeled the ship. The adult teacher said, "I know. I saw you sleeping as if you are in a hotel. The ship rocked like banging heads with solid walls, but you seemed not to be distracted from sleep. I want to wake you up, but you seem to be more comfortable as the winds grow stronger." I smiled at the passenger and told him, "Actually, I cannot remember any winds during the duration of my sleep." That passenger then asked, "I saw you kneeling minutes before the actual encounter with the low pressure area. Who are you praying to?" Then I shared some religious nuggets to this teacher. I shared how the love of God comforts me, especially when I commit myself to the Lord in prayer. I shared to him the faith that I have grown up with in our family, in my personal devotion. The passenger seemed to be very interested. I tried to locate something on my bag or in my bag, and I saw that I have a Steps to Christ book. I gave it to him, and he was so happy. In that book, I wrote my address and cell phone number and told him to contact me when he will be done with the book and I will send him more books. I thought I will hear from this person again, and I am so ready to send him books, but he disappeared like he was never present in my life during that sea travel. 4 years later, I am already connected with the high school at Bacolod City. I received a call from that passenger who is a teacher, and he asked me if I still remembered him. And I honestly did not. I was so ashamed, but I did not remember him. So he explained how we met. And the recollection was enough to let me remember that incident in the ship. That teacher told me that 2 days from now, a Sabbath day at that, he will be baptized to the Seventh-day Adventist Church. I asked him, "What made you reach this decision?" He said, "During the time in the ship when you prayed, 2 things happened. Number 1, you experienced peace in the midst of the storm. And number 2, you promoted peace through an answered prayer. Starting that day, I want you to know that your God impressed me. I want to know your God because I want to have that peace as well. If not for the strong winds, I may not have reflected God to this passenger who became a follower of God." during these days. Oops! Before being carried away, I am not far from my destination. In fact, I am already in front of my destination, an area I leave my motorcycle to walk a few steps to finally see my rented house. It was a total wreck. And it wreaked havoc in my heart to see the house that way. The picture that was sent to me by my colleagues may look bad, but the actual sight of the house seemed to be even worse. My tears fell due to the nostalgia of the place that I know I will soon leave, for it will be subjected for renovation and without sureness that we will still be accommodated in the same housing system again in that school. However, instead of mourning my path's demise, I gained strength from the thought that refreshed my mind regarding a good thing that happened when I prayed during the travel in the sea. The recollection I have during my motorcycle journey. So I bowed my head in prayer and commit the distracted house to the Lord. As of the moment, I am still in the process of locating things that can still be used and packing some belongings for evacuation and temporary resettlement. As of this moment, I still don't know why God has allowed such a demolition to the place I called a little heaven in this tumultuous earth. But I believe that after the prayer that I uttered, God will soon let me understand and see why He permitted the winds to dismantle my rented house. Whatever that reason may be, I know God permitted the wind to wreak havoc for 100 times better reason compared to a few rational why it shouldn't be destroyed. While waiting for God's explanation and reason regarding the desolation of that duplex home, I eagerly praise Him for what He has never failed in terms of impressing me in the past. He never failed me even in the past until today. I know that the day will come that I will thank God for permitting the structural disorientation of my home in this educational compound. God knows what is best in everything that happens in our lives. That is why, never forget the lyrics. When answers aren't enough, there is Jesus.
What a friend we have in Jesus. All our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer.
You have faced the mountain of desperation. You have climbed, you have fought, you have won. But this valley that lies coldly before you casts a shadow you cannot overcome. And just when you thought you had it all together, you knew every verse to get you through. But this time all the sorrow broke more than just your heart. And your friends with all those answers just won't do.
When answers aren't enough, there is Jesus. He's more than just an answer to your prayer. And your heart will find a safe and peaceful refuge. When answers aren't enough, He's there.
Instead of asking why did it happen, think of where it can lead you from here. And as your pain is slowly easing, you will find a greater reason to live your life triumphant through the tears. When answers aren't enough, there is Jesus. He's more than just an answer to your prayer, and your heart will find a safe and peaceful refuge. When answers aren't enough, He's there. When answers aren't enough, there is Jesus. He's more than just an answer to your prayer, and your heart will find a safe and peaceful refuge. When answers aren't enough, when answers aren't enough, when answers aren't enough, He's there. There is Jesus.
Today, amidst the grueling effect of that great wind that castigated not only my physical home but also my conceptual and philosophical viewpoints in life, I learned of one thing, that in the presence of a great wind, there is always a greater God who has the greatest possible reason to exist as a persona beyond the capacity of the winds and above the intellectual interpretation of man. Yes, God is just up there above all the things that happen in our lives. This is Brother Noy Gonzaga, and this is still the 7 Minutes with God today. May we be reminded that we have a greater God who can afloat us in the great problems that we face in life.
Wake up, it's time to rise and sing the praise of Jesus. Hallelujah, hallelujah. It's time to rise, to sing, to shout, to bring Him all your heart. He'll do the bigger part if you will only make a start. Wake up! Wake up!